Oh, hello, and welcome to Audente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have Mr. Widemouth. So, Mr. Widemouth is on by Perfect Circle 35 on Creepypasta.wikia. You can check it out there just now. Alright, you're back. So, we'll do the rundown then, just to catch everybody else up. So, this narrator man, or Spooky Steve,
he's ageless, genderless, nameless.
Protagonist,
Just
narrator.
anything. Like, he could not even been human for all we know.
Yeah. He moved around a lot when he was, basically until he was 8, where he settled in Rhode Island. But prior to that, he, again, moved a lot of places, a bunch of different states, and while he doesn't recall a whole lot of it, or, doesn't really have many memorable memories from a lot of those places, worth keeping or anything like that, he does have one that's crystal clear, concrete into his head, when he was in Maine, in a large house outside of New Vineyard, Maine. He had apparently just gotten mono a day after his very lonely birthday, where only his parents showed up.
Yeah, it's lonely because he moves all the time. He has no friends.
Exactly, yeah.
So Brown Ray,
And then,
so Brown Ray,
yeah. And then he got mono, so he was stuck in his room for 3 weeks with just ginger ale and books that his mom would provide him. I assume food, but
No, he eats the books.
yeah.
He loves knowledge.
And he uses the ginger ale so keep so it's not dry.
Yeah, he washes it down.
Yeah.
With that, yeah.
Man, he's got a lot of fiber going through him.
Well, that's what he is. He's not a human. He's an actual bookworm.
Oh my god! Yes. Anyway, a few days into his boredom-infused, illness-stricken prison, he meets somehow a creature, this furball creature called Mr. Widemouth. And it's this big-eyed, big-eared, big-mouthed, furry creature that just kind of befriends him and shows up and wants to be his friend. And they start reading some of the books together, and they play a little bit in his room and such. And everything's kind of nice and going on. And then a couple of days later, Mr. Widemouth has a new game where he takes him to the next room over, where there's a window that overlooks the 2-story house, and also there's a hillside that goes down, or an elevation, so it's even farther down till you hit flat ground below the house. And he says he wants them to jump out with him, because if they'll jump out and then just believe hard enough, they'll bounce back like a giant trampoline. And at some point, even despite his sickness, his brain tells him, no, that's not a smart idea. And so he kind of shrugs it off. He's no, I don't want to do that. I don't think I have the imagination for it. Mm-hmm. And initially, Mr. Widemouth is kind of snarls a little bit, but then looks more disappointed than angry. And he's all right, well, maybe some other time. And he kind of pesters him a little bit afterward about it, even to the point where at night, Mr. Widemouth said, "Oh, I put a trampoline down there. Don't worry, it's dark, so you can't really see it. But trust me, it's there." And it's no, I don't really want to do it. It's kind of dark out, and I don't know. I was oh. And then a little bit later, during those 3 weeks, he comes back. He comes out into the room with a box full of knives, and he's I want to teach you how to juggle. I want you to juggle these. And it's no, are you kidding me? I could get in trouble with this. I don't want to touch these knives. And it's fine. And he just puts the knives back in the box, and then slides it. I think either slides the box with him, or he just goes under the bed and basically
he probably takes them with him.
Yeah, and just quietly lies under the bed for the rest of the day. Apparently, that's how he. Basically, after he gets disappointed with the kid, or after the kid says he don't want to play anymore, he just goes under the bed, lying there, and just stays is just completely quiet for the entire rest of the day. Mm-hmm. And then eventually, our narrator kid, Spooky Steve, whoever, is allowed to go outside because he's feeling better, and he's out in the their backyard, and there's like a wooded path area and stuff like that. And Mr. Widemouth appears again, and he's like, "Oh, I want to take you down this path. I've had a bunch of child friends like you before, and I've always taken them down this path when they're ready, but you're not ready yet. But when you're ready, I'll take you down this path, and we'll go somewhere really special." And at this point, our narrator is starting to pick up the bad vibes. And is like, I don't think I want to be friends with Mr. Widemouth anymore. And it's like, I don't think I'm going to tell him that we're moving at all, because I don't want him coming, following or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So the moving day comes. It's 4 a.m. in the morning. They're all packed up in the trucks. He hasn't told Widemouth about anything about this. And they're going to drive to Pennsylvania, basically overnight until the afternoon the next day. And as they're leaving the house, as they're leaving the driveway, he looks up and sees in his window Mr. Widemouth pitifully waving goodbye with a steak knife in hand. So kind of dodged a bullet, it seems.
Knife.
Well, yeah. And so then he, a couple of years later, he decided to go back to New Vineyard and check out the old house. Turns out the house caught fire some years later, or after they left. And so they went back, so it's just foundations. He doesn't feel the presence of Widemouth at all on the premises, as if when the house was gone, or when the house ceased to exist, so did Mr. Widemouth. But out of curiosity, he decided to take the trail that Mr. Widemouth wanted to take him down, and it leads him to the New Vineyard Memorial Cemetery. And that's when he notices a lot of the graveyards, the tombstones in the cemetery are of children. And that's where the story ends. So, yeah, a little bit of a creepy ending.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a smidge.
Yes.
But we will go into a retrofitted segment called Everyone Expects the Grammar Inquisition, because we do it so often now.
Yeah.
Basically, this is Grammar Nazism's Inquisition, and nitpicks and all the things that we pick at a story that are ridiculous, critically silly stuff.
That's...
You've heard it all before, hence why I said everyone expects the Grammar Inquisition from us now at this point.
Yeah.
So,
although the silly aspect of this is generally in the notes.
Yeah. Well, critically silly in that we are looking too deep into these stories, or looking too hard at nitpicking grammar issues and spelling issues.
Yes, and then the notes are sillily critical.
Yeah. Yeah. Or comments that we have about the story.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, on to my one that I have that was kind of glaring at me. We have to go to the room at the end of this hallway. So it should say we have to go to the room at the end of the hallway.
Yeah, but it is...
It is dialogue, but...
Yeah, technically that's dialogue. Yes.
Well, we have to go to the thing at the end of the hallway. It's fun.
He's so excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no. I reject your reality and substitute my own.
You can do that, but it's wrong.
There's just technically, because it's dialogue, it kind of gets a pass, but not really.
It did not.
Yeah. So
I immediately go back on my own statement.
Yeah. That's my grammar Nazi, though. So.
Cool.
Mikey, the E stands for evil.
Don't you mean your grammar inquisition?
Yes.
Yes.
Or your
Nazi
nitpick
using
nook
my own
section?
What?
Or your nitpick nook section?
Yeah.
Alright, so my first one here is a sentence that begins with but.
Those damn butts.
But.
Mm-hmm.
Hate those butts.
That butt dough.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one set of memories which remains as clear as glass, as though they were just made yesterday. So,
yeah, that one could be though there is, or there is, however, this one set of memories that is clear as glass, kind of thing.
Yeah, or find a way to combine it with whatever the previous sentence
exactly,
was.
maybe add a comma or something like that. Or
it's directly talking about what it just talked about.
Yeah, so. But I mean, you can still have a period there, and start a sentence that is connected to that previous sentence. It doesn't work all the time, but you can do that. Mm-hmm. Especially if you want to break it up, so it's not all and then just go into a long multi-comma sentence.
Yes. Just never lead with the butt.
Yes.
The butt's always not. You never.
Butt is supposed to be at the back, not in front.
Well, not at the back, because you never end with a butt.
It's supposed to be in the middle.
Yeah, it's a middle butt situation.
It's a horrifying concept to put butt in the middle of something.
Middle butt? Yeah.
Middle butt. Anyway.
It's a horrible affliction.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, the next one that I have is a question mark that really just it doesn't make sense why it's there.
Okay.
And it goes, "Early enough for you?" my father asked with a hint of sympathy.
He's
Well,
unsure.
Perhaps, if you recall correctly, he was hopped up on caffeine and energy drinks. So
Not
he's like,
yet.
oh yeah, that's
Was he
true.
not?
Was he
It's
not?
4 a.m. at that
He's still
point.
he was hopped up on coffee.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
so it was
okay,
like,
he had
he's
the
like,
energy drinks for later.
So he could have been been yelling at him. It's just or like super like fast. It's like early enough for you. It's just like blind, like bloodshot eyes.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think it's sympathy.
It's really hard to tell just because of how animated his face is.
Yeah, but no, seriously, it's probably needs just a period there.
Yeah.
There doesn't need to be a question. There should be no question that that was probably sympathetic since father-son dialogue.
Yeah. Unless you want to explain it.
Unless you want to explain that he's actually or that he's a dick, and he's like, early enough for you? You dumbass kid.
Yeah, that's an option too, yeah.
That'll teach you to have mono for 3 weeks, bastard.
Yeah, like, it's my fault, Dad.
God.
Yeah, so that's the end of my grammar inquisitions.
Oh, yes. And then on to mine, I suppose.
Okay.
And then on to notes.
Okay. Alrighty then. So, actual thoughts. I start with a quote. "We were living in a house just outside the bustling metropolis of New Vineyard, Maine. Population 643. Of course this happens in Maine. Like, you got monsters, like, befriending children, but secretly they're trying to kill them to lead them to a creepy, like, dead, like a place where, like, the dead live or, like, exist.
Yeah.
And, like, it's a creepy fucking house, or not it's a creepy house. It's a huge, like, manor-like house, or, like, just a huge house next to a cemetery in the woods. Like, of course it's in Maine. Like,
It has to be.
yeah.
Honestly, in that situation, there's probably so many cemeteries just everywhere. Like, it's not uncommon to have a cemetery next to your house because of all the shit that happens in Maine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. It's just like...
That's why the population's low. Because that's how many people are currently alive.
It's like, we got Derry, we got Haven, we got... and then we have Vineyard. A new Vineyard.
Yep.
It's just like...
Spoilers. Please jump ahead to the 15-minute mark if you'd like to miss any major spoilers for Stephen King's It.
I wouldn't be surprised if this creature was like some kind of offspring of Pennywise. It's actually one of the little spider things that didn't get killed at the end of It. Because that's actually how the end of It is that turns out Pennywise, the spider monster, was actually giving birth to hundreds of other smaller ones
Well, that's fun.
that all had the same powers that it did.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Spoilers for a Stephen King novel. Actually, you should really go check it out especially before you go see It Chapter 2 next year.
Oh, is that going to be a thing?
Yeah. Well, it's in the adult section. Or in the adult section. It's
What the hell? Where are they going with that?
it's in the part of the book where everybody's adults now.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's when they reconfront it.
I was going to say, like, are they going to redo it with that weird ending that's actually in the book?
No.
Okay.
I still can't believe I can't believe Stephen King still
Wrote that?
defends that. Like it had to be that way.
Yeah.
I can kind of see where he's going. Like it was a ritual to make them adults, and stop being children and be adults, so that they could maybe
Yeah. The loss of innocence
But it's
thing.
still just so exactly.
It's
Loss of
fucked
innocence-
up.
It's still fucked up.
It's like, okay, we need to grow up now. There's no waiting time, so
like gangbang time. It's like, oh god.
That's fucked up.
Anyway, sorry, spoiler. I meant just spoilers. I'll put that right before I start talking about it.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah, before you move on,
yeah.
though, with that line, I also had a note on that where it's saying like the bustling population of 642.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if the sarcasm is necessary.
I can live with it. Like it adds character, right? Like,
But this is the only line where there's any character.
I mean,
it's not
still,
like it's a recurring thing.
it's still interesting. Like, I mean, the character we've already got like some flavor from this narrator. At the beginning, it's like we were a water drop in a river, like in a fast moving river.
Yeah.
So it's just an extra bit of flavor for this. It's like the bustling metropolis of New Vineyard, Maine. It's
but-
like you don't even have to like look or like think too hard to realize that's sarcasm.
Oh, I'm aware. It's sarcasm.
Turns out there's actually a huge it's actually the capital of Maine, is New Vineyard.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it's normally bustling, but because of all the monsters killing everyone, they're down to 643, but it's normally like 10,000.
No. He forgot a word. It's actually 643,000.
Yes.
So it's a grammar inquisition, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. That makes sense.
No, I'm totally down with the sarcasm.
Me too. I'm generally pretty sarcastic.
Yeah.
Not that you would notice. You know.
No, yeah. Anyway, so moving on to the next one. I've had a lot of friends about your age. When they're ready, when they were ready, I took them down this path to a special place. You aren't ready yet, but one day I hope to take you there. This is Mr. Widemouth, if you haven't noticed.
No, it's his dad.
So, personally, I love how this strange little critter just shows up, is all friendly at first, and innocuously harmless, like playing with them and stuff, and almost kind of inquisitive about like the books and stuff that he's reading, like looking at the images and reading and stuff like that. But then, as it goes, tries to lead the narrator to harm and possible death. The trampoline, the juggling knives, and the important path, I do in quotes, he wants to take the narrator down, like he's done before with other friends.
Does he say many other kids?
I literally just said, I've had a lot of friends about your age.
Okay.
When they were ready
Yeah.
to go there. There were so many red flags reading this story, like from day one. Okay, day 3 technically in the story, but regardless, reading this, it's very easy to get an uneasy feeling about the monster nearly from the get-go. Like,
Yeah.
even when he shows up, it's like, he's going to be a villain. He's going to try and kill this kid. Like, I don't know if it's because I'm genre savvy.
You're reading Creepypasta.
Yeah.
It's
Or,
not
like,
going
or
to
it's
be...
because I'm reading a creepypasta, so it's like I would actually be very entertained if there was a story where like there's actually a creature, and it actually wasn't the creature wasn't the villain. It was actually like a human, like an adult character that was actually the monster, like the true monster.
Yeah.
Like the dad's actually like this horrible alcoholic, and when he gets drunk, he starts beating his wife, like threatens to kill the kid, and like
The monster protects the kid.
Yeah, meanwhile, and the monster's just this little like monster critter, so he can't really like help defend him, like fight him, but he can help him like lead him away or something like that.
Yeah.
And like he jumps out the window. You think he's gonna die? No, he actually trampolines away. It actually turns out it was all like the monster was actually trying to help. I'd actually be like legitimately floored if that was a case. But like the story does follow a lot of like horror tropes with like that. It is pretty easy to like read what's about to happen or what's going on. That said, I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
So
it would be a little bit more unsure, like ambiguous. I don't know the word, but if the creature wasn't a weird, like hugely smiling face monstrosity, if it was like just like a straight up teddy bear or something.
yeah, except for Teddy Ruxpin.
Well, yeah,
Come play with me tonight.
yeah, I'll pass.
But who doesn't want to build a giant airship?
Yeah, but I still don't trust Teddy Ruxpin. I don't trust that voice.
Building an airship is fine. You don't have to do it with Teddy Ruxpin, though. You just do it.
Yeah. I trust, legitimately, from the cartoons, I trust the villains in that cartoon more than I trust Teddy Ruxpin. I trust those weird, like, monsters with, like, just legs and, like, big head things, the squig-looking creatures, and, like, the sorcerer dude, more than I trust any of the good characters. They are all monstrosities.
To be honest, I don't remember the cartoon.
It was interesting.
Cool.
It was good.
It's coming from someone who's pure evil.
Yeah, it didn't end, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Are you an authority on this cartoon?
Okay, so, legitimately, what's funny is that, okay, just a quick aside, that movie, the Teddy Ruxpin TV show, was originally, didn't start off as a cartoon. They did a pilot in live action.
Oh,
with,
fantastic.
Costumes and everything, and it is pure nightmare fuel.
Nice.
Because everybody's in, there's no humans, even the human characters are in costume as characters. Like as
humans.
So as their cartoon versions of themselves, but they're done up as mascot character creatures. It is utterly terrifying. I
wonder why they switched it to a cartoon.
Yeah, you think. And then they switch it to a cartoon for the rest of the show. And actually, again, the animation is not that bad. The art style is actually really cool.
Yeah.
But it is for being something it has that very calm, happy little tree here kind of tone. It still kind of emanates a sense of dread when I think about it.
Even when the good guys are just doing things?
It emanates nostalgic horror for me.
Teddy Ruxpin.
Yeah. Fucking terrifying since the 1980s.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Next quote I have. My father and I were in the truck at 4 a.m. He was... I keep wanting to say he's hopped up on something. No,
he kind of is, though.
Yeah. He was hoping to make it to Pennsylvania by lunchtime tomorrow, with the help of an endless supply of coffee and actually I found a typo, and a 6-pack of energy drinks. So it actually doesn't say and a 6-pack of it. It just says endless supply of coffee, Anna, A-N, no D. It actually doesn't have the D there, so. That's actually a grammar note. Oh, that's a grammar. There's another grammar note. I just completely
you
typo-nized it right over it 3 times now. Apparently,
they don't know. Shh. don't ruin it,
guys. Check out the bumper. We have the blooper bumper after the credits.
No, don't do that.
So they're hoping to get there by lunchtime tomorrow with the help of endless coffee and a 6-pack of energy.
Specifically endless.
Jeez, maybe Mr. Widemouth is the better option here because that dad if that dad crashes from the energy drinks and then crashes for reals,
his heart explodes in his chest.
He's good. He's driving from 4 o'clock that morning. For a full day, overnight, till lunch the next day.
That's not smart.
That's 24 hours. That's 30. No.
That's number hours away from that.
Would that be 36 hours? Or is that.
I don't know.
I don't think it's necessary.
We didn't do the math.
Well, no, because it's a full day is 24. And from. 24.
32 hours.
Yeah, 32 hours. Full 32. Basically, on the road, driving from Maine till Pennsylvania in 32 hours. No stopping, except for maybe, we assume, gas or pee breaks. Damn.
Yes. He does have an endless supply, though.
Yeah. And again, they're going to have to stop for pee breaks, because an endless supply of coffee and a 6-pack of energy drinks, I'm sorry, you need to stop.
Yes.
Unless it's put a jug near my jug, boy.
Here we go. Yeah, exactly.
Oh God!
And it's endless because the moving van that the dad is driving, the back is entirely filled with energy drinks.
Yes, exactly.
That's why it's endless. Then there's a second moving.
Well, it's not endless coffee. So it's just full of only a 6-pack of energy drinks.
Oh,
yeah. So
it's endless coffee.
Constantly, he has an enchanted thermos.
With this mystical now?
Yes.
Okay,
it's Maine, of course.
Oh, okay.
It's got some Chthon rune on it or something, or the sigil of
he's drinking out of a bag of holding.
Exactly, or something, or he got something from Haven when the Tommyknockers took over, and they made all the people smart and make crazy machines that are basically just magitech. And it's a thermos that just constantly provides endless coffee.
Yeah.
Because again, Maine.
Does it say that they're in the moving truck or just the truck?
They're in the moving truck.
Okay, because there could just be a giant cylinder in the back that is filled with coffee.
There's a tanker.
It's a tanker situation.
They just got a straw.
And it's a straw that comes out the back into a beer hat.
Yeah.
And then there you go. Awesome. Just keep her going.
Yes, and this would be the segment of our show where we have critically silly in the way that we are silly to the nth degree.
Yes.
Critical level.
It's a critical hit of silliness.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, yeah, I just thought that was like, jeez, man, like maybe Widemouth wasn't the better option here.
I mean,
You're better off with Widemouth than your dad.
are you though?
I mean, that's up to debate. And we're too lazy to debate that.
Well, here's the thing. It is only a 6... Okay, we're going to keep this going just for a little bit longer.
Okay.
It is just a 6-pack of energy drinks.
Yes.
Would that kill a man?
It is possible. He might have cardiac arrest.
Is it actually?
I don't know.
Well, you're only supposed to have one every 4 hours. So
32 hours.
32 hours.
Yeah.
He's got 6 of them. And he previously had, like, coffee. He says endless supply, but that's clearly...
5.
Yeah, he could technically do it.
yeah.
They did the math.
Wow.
He would not die.
Cool. All right. Anyway, moving on. from
Okay.
that. So this is the part where like they're just leaving. So he stood motionless until the truck was about to turn onto the main road. He gave a pitiful little wave goodbye. Steak knife in hand, I didn't wave back. Years later, I returned to New Vineyard. Why? Why would you go back to that? Well, like,
There's a lot of reasons why you want it.
yeah, I suppose
like-
there are like
For all he knows, in the
He does say
in the
at the
current
beginning.
day, he could just be thinking that he imagined this and never happened.
yeah, he did state at the beginning that he wasn't sure if this was a fever dream thing like brought on by his sickness or if this but he feels like it might have happened. And again, like nostalgia, like the nostalgia of wanting to go visit your old home and stuff like that. Like even like this is one of the ones that he like one of the homes he stayed at and had the most memory of. So
For a
like,
horrifying reason.
So yeah, also yeah, like returning to trauma to a traumatic place also is kind of a horror movie or horror story trope in that like well, if you didn't do that, then we wouldn't have much of a story.
Well, it's
Or,
also good for the character to do anyways because it's closure.
That's another that's another usually one of the reasons given for why like a horror movie or a horror story protagonist goes back to the horror.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like so like, I can see that, and also
Because
like
using his adult mind, he can see that like, okay, maybe I just imagined it all. Nothing's wrong here.
yeah, and then yeah, and actually. Surprisingly, unlike some other stories we've done, like Bedtime, this story actually has it where the character returns and doesn't have anything like horrible happen to him.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the realization
That Mr. Widemouth was trying to lead him down the path of death.
Yes.
But yeah, and that's my actual thoughts until I find something that you guys have mentioned that you guys bring up that brings up something that I might want to talk about.
Cool.
So yeah.
You're talking about that almost like you can see into the future and you know that things that we say you will have comments on.
I know, right? It's
That's
weird.
weird.
Go check out the bloopers after the credits.
No, don't do that.
No. Sorry, the way you're saying that, like, okay, so, quick aside, there's a scene, I've been listening to this podcast called Elder Hollow, and one of the characters is, like, not good at lying, so the way they roleplay it is, like, because they look like they're unconscious of that, and he's like, now, my character wouldn't, like, is shitty at lying, so, like, it might be just like, no, I'm dead, oh, go away.
Specifically says that I'm dead.
Oh, no, you killed me, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Is that just like the way you said, like, he's like, no, don't do it.
Yeah.
Just kind of like that pitiful, like, not trying enough.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, sorry, Mikey, go to your.
Alright,
Thoughts?
so near the beginning of the story, this sort of set off on the wrong foot for me, anyway.
All right.
Right from the get-go.
Well, not right from the get-go, but pretty soon after the get-go.
Oh, okay. After the get was got.
Yes.
Cool.
With the following quote, "Most of these memories are unclear and pointless."
Then why bring them up?
I mean, they didn't bring them up, though. They're saying that's why they didn't bring them up, because they're pointless.
Yeah, but having that set in my mind, I was like, well, is the rest of the story going to be unclear and pointless as well?
Yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from with that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Alright, so the next quote I have. "The day after my 5th birthday, attended by my parents alone, I came down with a fever. The doctor said I had mononucleosis which meant no rough play and more fever for at least another 3 weeks. So he's a 5-year-old kid, and he has the kissing disease.
A day after his lone birthday, where the only people that were there were his parents. Ooh.
What does that mean? I mean, like, when you're a kid, you get kissed by your parents.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because the mono is transmitted through saliva. So his mom's giving French kisses or something?
I mean, okay, well, not French kissing, but like kissing on the lips, like is a normal thing in some families and some of that.
Yeah, but saliva doesn't normally.
That is true.
Travel that
it's usually
much.
a peck. It's not like a smooch. Like
Yeah.
it's not like
Depends if his
making
mom's like,
out.
drooling all the time.
Yeah, it's not like they're making out.
Yeah.
That's weird.
The more realistic avenue to take this, though,
Oh,
is because Mr. Widemouth seems to live underneath narrator man, girl, boy's bed.
Mm-hmm.
What's to say that... I almost called him narrator mouth. What's to say that narrator mouth? Why Mr. Widemouth didn't come out while narrator man boy was sleeping the previous night before his birthday and just laid a big sloppy wet kiss on him for the purpose of infecting him to de-energize and debilitate this child so he can attempt to mess with him.
oh, so or like maybe like because again, I kind of get the impression that Mr. Widemouth's been doing this a long time. Like again, he's had a lot of children friends. Like in that cemetery is a memorial cemetery, so like turn of the century possibly, like been there. I'm just kind of speculating right now at this point because again, memorial cemetery. When I think of like gravestones of children and stuff, I kind of think like a little bit older. Like there might be some kids there that are older. Like older in like again like turn of the century, like 19th century or late 19th century, early 20th century kind of thing. And like medicine wasn't that great back then, so like maybe this is his first phase of his
Attempting
operation like lead the kid down the special path, where he like gives them a disease, like gives them mono, in the hopes that the kid will die from mono.
Yeah.
And then because
When he does it, it's like, why don't you just try jumping out the window? It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, just to kind of like bring up the whole like monster saliva. So apparently, monster blood based off Goosebumps corrupts and transforms and like monstrifies things that like it touches. Monster saliva, on the other hand, just gives you mono.
Yes, it is the cause of mononucleosis.
Yes.
And the only cause.
Yes.
You can only get it from monsters.
Clearly.
Yes.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah. So if you ever like wake up one night in like a cold sweat, yeah, or
it
something,
may not be sweat.
yeah, it might not be at all. It'll just be a layer of just monster saliva all over your face. Especially if you have mono the next day.
Ew.
Ew. You gotta really get the jaw going to get the Ernest going.
Yeah.
I miss Ernest.
I kind of want to like just like play. I kind of just want in that quiet spot. I just kind of in the arms of an angel.
Yeah, you're not wrong though.
Alright, so the next quote that I have is, my mother brought me ginger ale and books several times a day, and these served the function of being my primary form of entertainment for the next few weeks. So he's a 5-year-old, and he's really digging reading these books.
I mean, it's probably not his first option. I bet he probably wanted a TV and watching movies, but maybe because they're moving around, like they're constantly moving, so maybe like the parents decided that like he's going to be there for 3 weeks. I don't want my kid to have his brain rotted out by the TV. So I'm just going to give him a bunch of books to read, like force him to read, to get him into like learning, like get some book learning in there.
Or so they don't have to sign up to a contract with a cable company.
Or
if they're going to be moving that
again,
much.
if it's so we're based on like when this kid actually like grew up, like and like is 5 at the time, could be like in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So at that point, you don't actually need cable because you could just use antennas and possibly get like 1 or 2 channels. They are out in the sticks, like even like
It's a bustling city, though.
Even in a small town in Maine, like I can't like my cottage up until like a couple of decades, like up until a decade or so ago, we had antennas and some of that, and we could get like 3 channels maybe.
Oh, yeah,
like
and I'm sure he could at least get Candle Cove on there.
Oh yeah,
and,
for sure.
The one from 1999 that I can't remember
Mr. Bear. Yeah,
Mr. Bear. Yeah.
Well, no, because it's in Maine, and that was a local Ontario thing. So that's across the border. So unless it like somehow feeds down there, like down to the States. Well, it is Maine, so it might just.
It's pretty close.
Also, Pennywise Channel or Pennywise TV.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
No, but
it is now.
Well, it isn't. Again, it is in the new movie in the last in the what is it the 2015 movie?
The remake of it.
Yeah, in the remake of it, he shows up in a bunch of like TV broadcasts, like just like kill your parents, and it just keeps zooming into him, like in the background, just like like just smiling.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it could be that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe. Probably not.
No. Anyway,
yeah. Anyway, my point is that a 5-year-old reading books
isn't impossible.
But improbable. Because
but
more of the time they like books being read to them.
Fair.
Not
But
them
he's
reading
also the
themselves.
carrier of a disease. So I imagine his mom just like opening a trap door and just like putting. What? He's in prison. He's quarantined right now. Or she walks in with one of those hazmat suits. So here you go, son. Am I gonna be okay, Mom?
Yeah,
totally.
God.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Totally no sarcasm.
No, why would I be sarcastic?
I don't know. It's weird.
That'd be weird. Yeah. But the other way to look at it is we've already established that he is a literal bookworm. So he would get entertainment out of eating books.
He was a bookworm?
Yeah.
When did we establish that?
Just now. No, previously.
Right.
Yeah.
Check out the bloopers.
No, it was earlier.
We didn't bring it up. We did bring it up in this one.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
I made it up in this one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Future Chris will know.
Yes. So
Chris
his meals are ginger ale and books.
Yes. He drinks the ginger ale and eats the books.
Okay.
So he's getting food and sustenance. Or
Gotcha.
rather, liquids and food.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of fiber.
Yeah. Gotta poop a lot.
Yep.
He's got to get rid of the disease somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Poop it all out. Anyway.
Yeah.
What's he do with mono, right?
Sure. Cool. I don't really have much experience other than the people that would not show up at school occasionally during my high school years. And just like, oh, why haven't you been to school for a while? It's like, I got mono. It's like, oh.
That's a thing? Okay.
There's a thing for me growing up. Like, there's a strange number of kids, or like people. Well, legit, like.
See, that's the thing. In your own experience, kids had mono.
At high
Teenagers.
school, yeah,
Okay,
high school,
okay.
and that makes sense because like again, like
It's not as weird.
yeah, it's not as weird because again, there was that age group.
Yeah, it's fair. My only experience with mono is through Seinfeld.
Fair enough.
Not through Jerry Seinfeld. I haven't met the man, but through his show. Because I believe George at one point had a girlfriend who had mono,
Gotcha.
and they had to not do things, and that made him angry. And then he had to Costanza. Like, he always just gets mad. That's his thing. He yells all the time.
Fair enough.
I don't know how his voice didn't just explode from doing that show, by the way. He's angry every single episode, I think.
A lot of water probably like on the set.
Yeah, probably. Anyways, I think we're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Tune in next time when we do Al Dente Rigor Mortis, the Seinfeld Lost episode.
Oh, wow. Is that a thing?
Probably.
Cool. There's probably lots of
There's got to be. There's multiple Simpsons ones. There's SpongeBob ones. There's a lot of S. There's a lot of titles with S's in them. Lost
So
episodes.
Seinfeld, yeah,
I'm sure there is a Seinfeld Lost episode. Actually, I might look that up.
It's about one of the really early episodes when Newman was threatening to jump off the roof.
He actually did.
He actually does.
Nice. Anyway,
yeah. So, continuing on, I have another quote here when narrator man is talking to Mr. Widemouth. Maybe some other time, I said. I don't know if I have enough imagination. I could get hurt. And this sentence struck me as odd because he's a 5-year-old with oodles and oodles of imagination.
yes, but his lizard brain, the primitive part of the term, it's a slang term for like the
We already
primitive part of
established he's a worm, not a lizard.
or the primitive part of your brain that has the fight or flight part. It was still functioning even through his disease-riddled body. So it still had its like there's some warnings, some red flags here. Abort, abort, abort. Get the hell out of here, kid. Make something up. Leave.
Yeah, you could just be lying to him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a very kid thing to do.
Yeah, and then the part with the knives. I mean, it's a kid. Kids play with things they're not supposed to.
Yes. However, says in the story, he's very he's much more worried about his parents finding out and like scolding him for it. So it's actually really he's just actually good parenting.
Yeah.
His parents have put the fear of God in him.
No, the fear of dad.
The fear of dad in him to not play with knives.
Yeah, like it's like you previously just started messing around with stuff like that, and they're like, "No, you don't do that."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Okay, I'll be a good son or daughter."
Whatever. I'll be a good gender fluid individual.
Yeah.
All right. So my next one here is talking about Mr. Widemouth. He wasn't so fun to play with anymore. And my question was he ever fun to play with?
Yeah, initially when he first met him, like he hung out with him, like read some books with him, like they
Did
talked.
he say they
had
read
conversation. Yeah, he was reading the book and they had a conversation, and I think it does insinuate that they did like have some playtime prior to like the games starting up. Like again, jumping out the window and
Well, they already did because he has mono, so they had their playtime.
yeah. So they had some. And you guys say I have a gutter mind. Anyway,
We've established that he drooled all over his face to give him mono.
but I mean, like some actual like they did like hang out for a couple of days before the trampoline incident or the jumping incident. So
Although, like, nothing's said.
yeah,
I
could
kind of
be
felt
mentioned.
like the kid was just laying there, like, dying, and well, not actually dying, but, like, just bedridden, just talking to this weird creature while the creature's doing things and he's not able to do things.
Yeah, so I mean that's still hanging out though. So like,
Is that playing, though?
I mean it's still playing. It's still hanging out. It's playing and hanging out kind of go hand in hand when you're 5 years old.
I mean, right now we're hanging out. Are we playing?
No.
No, but we're in our 30s. We're about
Is that a
30.
difference?
It is when you're a child.
When you're children, yeah.
When you're a child, it is like playtime is hangout time.
I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, technically we are playing because we're having fun. That is playtime. That is playing things.
I suppose.
Yeah.
So my last note is about the ending.
Okay.
And I'll just read the quote here quickly. The trail ended at the New Vineyard Memorial Cemetery. I noticed that many of the tombstones belong to children. And I'm just thinking, okay, so Mr. Widemouth takes them down this path, kills them, and then digs a hole, puts them in the hole, and puts a tombstone.
Like he goes back to his little shack that he has like all this granite and he's got like a wheel for like carving it and all that. And
Yes and no. Yes, he does lead them down there, metaphorically. See, he was telling him like he's had this had multiple children friends, and he's led them down when they were ready. Well, when he says when they're ready, I feel like it's more or less when they die from one of his like shenanigans,
Yes.
at the house or like wherever like nearby.
From all of his wily coyotes
basically
that he tries on him.
exactly,
One of
yeah.
them works.
Yeah, when they eventually work, they are led like basically it is a metaphor for like the kids dying and ending up in the cemetery.
Yes.
Or again, like maybe he's ferrying their souls to the cemetery or something like that, or kills them in the woods, or kills them at the cemetery. Maybe like I don't know. But yeah, basically, yeah. My interpretation of it was that like it is. When he said that, it was more or less that like he killed them at the site or like at the house or whatever, and they ended up at the cemetery because they're dead.
Yeah.
He's putting him he's putting the kid on the path to the end point of that path,
Yeah.
which is death.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But the problem there is that this family moves around a lot, so there's no guarantee that narrator man would have been buried in that graveyard.
Yes, but Widemouth may not know that because they were there for some time. So maybe Widemouth thought, "Oh well, these kids they've been hanging out here for a little while. They're probably going to stay here, so I'll kill the kid. Like I need to meet my quota this month or whatever, or this year or whatever.
It's quota.
I don't know. Maybe
Why does he have quota?
I don't know. Maybe he's the gravekeeper. Maybe he's like this weird supernatural gravekeeper, and he's helping the gravesite, and he like has one more quote he's got to meet that day, and it's like, oh well, I mean that kid's like he's a kid, so he's pretty small, so I don't have to dig too much.
It's just lazy as well.
Yeah.
You're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an SNTF thing. Like it's a whole like community. It's community service for certain monsters that are trying to rehabilitate, and he's just kind of sliding back into his old habits.
That, or possibly that once he like finishes his quota of doing X amount of grave work, then he is relieved of this and he is free.
Yeah.
So maybe he's like one away, but he's like, I don't want to just wait for someone to die of natural causes.
Let's get do it.
There's a kid right there. I mean, I might as well just go drool in his face and get him.
Yeah, I mean, like, he'll probably die from that. Oh, he didn't die? God damn it. All right, let's try this thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, hey, let's go jump out this window. And just like, oh, don't worry, it's like 3 stories high. It's fine.
That's why he grumbles every time that he doesn't want to do it.
He's like, damn it. But yeah, no, I kind of envisioned that it was probably that. Actually, I might throw mine in right here. I was thinking when he was taking down that path, I wasn't actually expecting a cemetery. I was kind of expecting a corpse pit, or like just a bunch of children bones.
Would you have been happier if there was?
I don't know. I honestly do like the ending the way it is, like the way the zinger is. Like it just kind of like comes up and is like, oh, like it just has some more gravitas, but with those last words.
It's a smurder ending.
Yeah. I think it would have been maybe a little bit cheaper if it had been like like a pit of bones or something like that.
Yeah, because that's...
Or a hag tree.
Because, like you said, that's kind of what you figured was going to happen, so it's way too easy to just assume that's what's going to happen, and then if you're not surprised, there's no... Like, it's still a creepy situation, but you're not taken by it. Like, whoa, shit.
Yeah, exactly. There's a little... it makes you think a little bit more with this one, so... But...
That's the end of my thoughts that I've written down.
Alrighty.
I have nothing.
Let me just load up my blank page. I mean, page that has words on it, yeah. No, I have nothing. No, I got some. No, I have nothing. No, I probably have some. Okay. Start from the beginning, literally. The first couple of lines kind of give me whiplash, because right from the get-go it's saying that during my childhood, my family was like a drop of water in a vast river, never remaining in one location for long. We settled in Rogue Island when I was 8, and there we remained until I went to college in Colorado Springs. So, I don't think that living somewhere for 10 or 11 years is short enough time to compare to a drop of water in a river, in regards to him being 8 up until 18, 19 to go to college.
Yeah, it does say afterward, like that, like explains more afterward that like they moved a lot more.
Yeah, previously.
It does feel like they stepped forward and then stepped back a bit. Like they took a U-turn from that sentence of like where they settled. Like maybe put that settled like section like somewhere else, like a little bit farther down.
Yeah, like I had that on my second note as well. A lot of creepypastas kind of do that, where like they start describing something, and it starts building an image in my head, and then as they continue to explain it, it's like, oh no, they didn't mean that, so I have to get my mind eraser and just kind of erase that part and redraw it in what they meant.
Yeah.
So
that is sometimes used actually as a technique for like to build up suspense or to build the mood and stuff like that. But it does also sometimes have the adverse effect of like pissing off the reader or annoying the reader because they have to they have to change what they originally thought.
Yeah, but to the credit of this like that question I had was immediately answered.
Yeah,
right after.
Sometimes stories will like not answer that till like a couple of paragraphs down.
Yeah, but if I don't know, I didn't write down how to rewrite it, but if it was like probably slightly worded slightly differently, I wouldn't have that question to begin with.
Yeah,
so it wouldn't have to be answered.
Honestly, I do feel like maybe like I think if the whole part about them settling like in Rhode Island should have maybe just been left at the very like near the end, like right between like all the other times when they moved, like where the other places they moved, and then getting to the point where like they like maybe in between that and like fill in some stuff with where he's about to explain like the one memory of when they were in Maine. Like we settled here, but like when we were in Maine, like there was this weird thing. Yeah,
like the whole settling word, I kind of took that as when we moved to Maine, this is what happened. Like, because it's right from the get-go saying, like, we move all the freaking time, and then I don't know, like, it doesn't say that we stopped moving all the time, so I kind of assumed even this story is in a situation that they're moving all the time.
Yeah, honestly, when I first read that paragraph, I thought it was like, so is this story going to take place in Rhode Island? Oh, wait, it's taking place in Maine? Oh, okay. You settled in Rhode Island. Why'd you mention that if...
Yeah, it's kind of
place
weird.
In Maine, like... or maybe it could, like, the whole thing, like, we settled in Rhode Island, could have been done at the end, right, when he went, like, years later, like, the whole, like, bit, like, after they left Maine for Pennsylvania, and his dad even says, like, hopefully Pennsylvania's when we settle down. Then cut to... Like then add that line in there. It's like we eventually did actually settle, but not in Pennsylvania, in Rhode Island. And years later, after like my college years and whatever, I decided to go back to Maine. Like that might be a good place to put it in the story.
I think it's just the word settled. Like if it wasn't settled, if it was like I understand what settling is, but for some reason I just kind of assumed that as like we moved here temporarily kind of deal. Even though settling is kind of like stopping moving, like you're grounding yourself there.
Well, they did
I know. I didn't read it like that. That's part of my own problem.
Yeah,
but yeah.
All right.
So moving on. Boredom always loomed just around the corner, waiting to rear its ugly head and compound my misery. This is what he's saying as he's thinking about all the bad things that are happening to him. I just imagine this like 8-year-old kid sitting there in his bed saying these things. He's like this gritty and like super dark, twisted child.
So
like,
kind of
boredom always loomed just around the corner. Like he's monologuing to himself.
So kind of like the little goth kid from South Park.
Yes, I forget his name. But yes, just like him.
Like not even like one of the older kids. It's like life is just a hobo and just like flips his head. No, it's not one of those. It's the smallest kid.
He's the most fucked up, honestly. He's what episode was I don't remember. But either way, he's the only one that's visibly murdered on the show.
Oh Jesus!
He has killed.
Oh God!
He's killed someone before.
Damn!
I think he killed Kenny actually.
I mean that's not really saying much.
I mean,
Kenny is an immortal being based off of a Lovecraftian ritual.
Yes, he is. But he straight up took a knife and stabbed him in the throat.
Wow.
And all the other guys are like, whoa, that's fucked up. All the other goths.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm totally down.
Yeah.
Anything South Park related, I'm down.
Yeah, fair. So this takes place, so then Mr. Widemouth actually takes place in the South Park universe.
Sure. I mean, in a universe where there is a worm boy that eats books and drinks ginger ale and gets mono from being slobbered on by a weird little Furby creature. Yeah, why not? I've seen weirder.
You have, yes, there have been weirder in the South Park universe.
Yeah.
This is actually really just this is like a weird like Lost episode that's actually not a Lost episode like of the main show, but like a fictional spin-off series that takes place in New Vineyard.
Yeah.
It's actually just
called New Vineyard.
It's basically where South Park is South Park is like in Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah, where South Park is in Colorado. He even goes to Colorado State with the college.
Does he?
Remember, like after they lived in Rhode Island, he went to college to Colorado Springs.
There you go.
I don't Is Colorado Springs actually in Colorado, or is that just...
I have no idea.
I feel like, okay, like, if that's not... Like,
It would make sense that it is, but there's been weirder things.
Future me, say yes or no.
Damn it, pass me. Yes.
Awesome, thanks.
You did it.
Alright. So, yeah, you could even relate to that. Anyways, yeah, no, but that's total speculation and total elaboration.
Just a little bit, yeah. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah.
So, I have 2 points about the trampoline situation. About the imagination trampoline. And I want to see what you guys think. Would you think it would be neat if, when Mr. Widemouth brings narrator boy, girl, whatever, to the window,
Yeah.
and explains the imagination trampoline thing, if he, at that point, jumped out and actually bounced back. See, I did it!
But you're a magical creature, and so,
He doesn't know that,
though. Exactly, yeah. No, I would think that would actually be a much more, like, temptation. Like, a much more, like, again, like, adding in anticipation, or like, oh god, is he gonna do it? Because he saw the monster do it.
Or make it so, like, the first time he just says to try it and he doesn't want to do it, but then the next time he gets him there, he's like, watch, I'll do it myself, I'll show you.
Yeah, and then he starts juggling the knives, and it's like, it's easy, you can try it too, here.
Yeah.
And just, like, start throwing them over to him.
He just kind of puts the stuff in front of him, like the knives and the jumping at the window situation, where he's like, do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
What's wrong with you?
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, it's one of those situations.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of... It'd be cute in a disgusting and disturbing way.
Sorry, now I'm just imagining Mr. Widemouth's like, just do it!
Yep.
Make my dreams come true!
He's like,
What?
there's the weird
Just do
hand
it.
thing with the other
Just
hand coming
do it.
down. Yeah.
God.
He's holding a knife, so it's like through his hand. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh no, also it's like, make my dreams come true! Wait, what? Just do it!
Never mind, just do it. Yeah.
Stupid.
Anyways, so the other point about the trampoline situation, so the second time we talks about it, it's nighttime, and he says, oh, I put a trampoline there, you can just jump out there anytime you want, and
It's
all
all
that.
dark, but
Whatever.
you can, don't worry, it's there. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it.
but later on in the story, he actually goes outside, because his parents let him.
So-
I kind of wish that he went to that
The
window
spot.
to see if there was a trampoline there.
Yeah, and then maybe even have a conversation like Mr. Funnymouth, or Mr. Widemouth.
Where's the trampoline?
Where's the trampoline? It's like,
Yeah, and see what he has to say about it.
I moved it.
Yeah, I totally had to move it. It was on rent. I
Yeah.
only rented it for a day.
It's out in the woods near the special place that I'm going to lead you.
Do you want to come get it? I need help bringing it back. It took all my effort to drag it in here.
Yeah.
For you, and you didn't even use it. Like
Yeah, exactly.
You are.
Again, more temptation, more like
Yeah.
adding on to like this creature's like trying to like mischievously
He's
persuade
manipulating him.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying to make him feel bad about it. It's like, okay, I guess I'll help you.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
shucks.
Okay, and then my last is about the pictures.
Oh, right. Yes, the pictures.
Yes.
So the first picture, which I originally thought was a pigman, because I only glossed over and like that doesn't look like him, I just moved on. But after looking at it again, it is a Furby.
Yeah, and it's actually placed in conjunction with the dialogue of like, you look like a Furby.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I actually like went over to the lines and like right at the spot where it's like kind of like aligned with. It's where he like starts telling him that he looks like a Furby and sort of that.
Okay, and then right below it, it shows the actual picture of what he looks like.
Yeah, which is cool. Like,
Yeah.
It, unlike other creepypastas that we've done on the show, it actually is an image that accompanies a story and looks like the creature.
Yes.
Like we've had a couple of times on the show where they just have a random image that has one aspect that might be correlate, and otherwise it doesn't.
Or there's something off about it, like a robot being hugged by two children when there's only one child in the story.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I'm trying to think of the one, the Antler Man, or the Antler Man. Was it Antler Man or
I don't think so.
the one with the rain? Like the one with the thing in the or like the thing in the ice.
Oh, the Iceman.
The Iceman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Where
Iceman.
he had antlers,
The
but-
Iceman story. Yeah, exactly. Where it was like it was this like guy like in ice, but looked like he had antlers or something like that, trying like to get back into the water.
Yeah.
But then the whole story had nothing to do with that at all.
Yeah, he was never frozen in ice.
Yeah.
I kind of, right from the get-go, from the... Oh, it's a different story, but whatever. Right from the get-go of that, of the title and the picture, I assumed it would be about finding a creature
In the lake-
and,
in the lake or
getting out or something,
Yeah, exactly.
but it wasn't that. But this one, the title and the picture are just perfect for it.
Yeah, exactly. And like, it is a cleaver he's holding on to. Like, at first I thought it was a piece of paper, like that in that illustration.
Yeah.
But he's actually like holding a cleaver, like from the blade end, not from the. And there's a little bit of a handle, like that's all
He
black.
doesn't want to use that.
And it's like he's just like cut himself, like he's like blood's coming out of his like paws and stuff
Yep.
like that. So, and it actually again, it gives like it's this weird little like woodland creature with a huge grin, big eyes, big like ears, like a Furby kind of thing, but definitely not a Furby.
No,
But like
he's almost like a fuzzy goblin.
yeah,
I want to say,
or like
but a really tiny
yeah,
one.
like or like basically like a Mugwai. Like basically, what would happen if a Mugwai didn't change right into a gremlin, and so the gremlin had fur and like
yeah.
and
Yeah,
had,
there
and
you
had the
go.
nose and stuff of a gremlin. So
Yeah.
it's like basically a non-reptilian gremlin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, basically that's what this creature reminds me of.
So just thinking about it, he is holding a cleaver.
Not a.
Would you classify that as a knife? It is
He did say he was holding a butcher knife, or no, sorry, a steak knife.
a steak knife at the end.
So
but I mean, in regards to when he gave him a box of knives to throw.
Yeah, because it could still be like basically a box of knives from the kitchen and it just happens to have a cleaver as well.
I'm just
That is the
thinking
only-
about like the semantics
Yeah,
of it or whatever.
yeah.
Like if a cleaver is technically a knife, it's more like a tiny axe, right?
It's a chopping. It's a chopping weapon. Much like steak knives or like some like kitchen knives and stuff are for.
Yeah.
Like it would be in like we're just gonna like share the
let's just I'll join
but yeah, like to critique this art piece, so, like I think it actually should. That's the only, but like out of that is the only part that's kind of like if you really want to like dig into this image. It's
like
the only
if you're trying to find something bad,
exactly,
about it,
it's the only indiscrepancy, but it's not
It's not
enough.
really
It is
at all.
not enough.
No.
Yeah.
It's
To
totally
even
fine.
merit. So yeah. Otherwise, again, this is actually one of the better images that accompany a story because it actually gives us a little detail. Unfortunately, we don't know here or there whether or not this image accompanied the story when it was first established, but
Well, let me use my magic brain. I think, you know what? I think at some point, through my magical brain of looking in the past to things that weren't recorded, that someone may have done a little bit of research and found out that it was added at some point later on. But whether or not that means that that image was changed or added, I don't know.
yeah, I'm not
So-
sure. If it was, well, it might.
And it wasn't added by the same person.
It might have-
I also
well,
have that information.
Yes. It might have been like just like added on like when the first like page was when the page was created, but it doesn't show
Yeah.
in the edit history. So, again, check out the bloopers to show us what the hell we're talking about. Anyway, yeah. So, but otherwise, yeah, the images actually work well for this one, like because it actually gives us a visual reference, but also like adds like because again, like everybody knows what
I was gonna say-
people, some people know what a Furby is, but not everybody's going to know what a Furby is.
And for those that don't, here's an image.
Here's an image 'cause
with a
it's basically
creepy
just
tint on it.
Yeah, creepy like shadows and stuff like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like we get an actual image of what Mr. Widemouth looks like, and it complements the story very well.
I have to say though, in regards to that first image though, I think it should be cleared up a little bit.
There should be like a little bit of like a little comment or something underneath it or something.
No, not even that. I mean the image itself, because when I first glossed over it, I didn't see a Furby. I saw some weird like pig face thing. I'm like, okay, that's not it. Moving on. Because like all the bars are there and it's really close.
Yeah.
If it was back and the bars were a little bit further out, you'd be able to see it clearer.
I looked at it, like I took a quick glance like when we...
It might be because it's black and
researched-
white too. So it just kind of all blended together for me.
Maybe, yeah.
People see different things when it's like the Rorschach test situation.
Yeah.
People see different things.
I saw a Furby, you saw a pig man. Man-bear pig.
Yeah. Well, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the end of my thoughts. Just
Okay.
talking about the images.
All right. So, I'm going to end with my final thoughts. I'm going to have the paragraph, or quote the last paragraph. Out of curiosity, I followed the deer trail that Mr. Widemouth had shown me. Part of me expected him to jump out from behind a tree and scare the living bejesus out of me, but I felt that Mr. Widemouth was gone, somehow tied to the house that no longer existed. The trail ended at the New Vineyard Memorial Cemetery. I noticed that many of the tombstones belonged to children. That's where it ends. So, this ending was expected to me. Although, like I previously said, I was imagining a pit of child bones.
I was going to say, I thought you just said that
something more
what you
like
expected was a pile of bones.
I was expecting something morbid to happen at the end
Oh,
of this.
okay.
Yeah, I was
a general morbid situation.
This was expected, like, in terms of, like, the morbid situation. Personally, I was imagining a pit of children bones or, like, a hag tree where, like, there's just bones. Like, it's this horrible, gnarled tree.
A bunch of bodies hanging from it.
Hanging from it or, like, entwined in the roots, like skulls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this actually is a pretty decent, creepy beat to end on. Like,
And I just thought of something.
oh,
What if the trail does end in a pit of bones, but because it's been 13 years, the trail no longer goes there?
So the trail has changed, or somebody's changed the trail, or it was originally supposed to go to a pit of bones, but in 13 years, somebody found that and turned it into the memorial cemetery.
I mean,
there's your games we talk about RPG games like making things scenarios and stuff like that sometimes. That is how you make that is the scenario you do. It's the Delta Green or like Cthulhu investigators who are tasked with finding this pit of bones and like figuring out what the fuck is going on here. And then like at the end of the scenario, you leave off with that the town is planning on turning it into a memorial cemetery for all the children's bones that are there.
wow.
Also, I think it would have been a lot creepier if, like, the entire grave, not just, I noticed some of the tombstones, or many of the tombstones, all the tombstones were of children. Like, that would have been even, like, Jesus.
Yeah.
But, the way it ends,
it's a cemetery of two, but all of them were children. All two.
Sure. Also, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, This ending actually works. I feel works better than the bone pit because it makes you smarter. Or it
Makes you smarter.
Sorry, not what I meant. Actually,
Are you sure?
makes you think more than just it's a gruesome like clearing.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a jab at unrecorded Mikey.
No, it was not. It was a slip of the tongue. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Once you learn how to English better, then that won't happen anymore.
Exactly.
You'll be fine.
Also, I don't know if we brought it up in this iteration, but I mean what? But the I feel like the house being described as large, like too large for the kid to like go to all the rooms and stuff. Mm-hmm. Even if he wasn't allowed to go into some of the rooms, I almost kind of wonder if like the reason why it's in so close proximity to the cemetery is because it was an orphanage.
I mean,
and that's where, and Widemouth's just kind of like maybe Widemouth wasn't responsible. Maybe it wasn't initially responsible for all the deaths, but it probably was of all those children. But like again, like maybe the reason why like he developed mono because like at the turn of the century and stuff like that, if this orphanage went on that long before it became like just a house for rent, maybe like a bunch of the kids died from just like from the mono illness that Mr. Widemouth gave them
from the monster spit.
Yeah, from the monster spit.
Yeah. And
next up on from R.L. Stein, the sequel to Monster the sequel to the series of Monster Blood novels, Monster Spit.
There you go.
Kids get mono.
And it with it being in a more modern situation where they can deal with that, Mr. Widemouth is like, well, I guess I gotta do this the old-fashioned way. Hey, look, a window! You want to try jumping out of it?
Yeah.
Like, he's just thinking of the quickest way to just deal with him.
Exactly, yeah.
Because after all, he does have a quota to make, so he can get off of this community service.
Yeah, because, I mean, clearly he's from the SNTF. He's just like part of their...
He's not from. He's being reconditioned by the SNTF.
Rehabilitation.
There you go.
He's getting... This is his community service job. That he's got to work at the cemetery, and he's just kind of starting to slip into his old habits because he's trying to meet that quota.
Yeah.
And again, kids
Or
are
it's literally just like he's so close to the end that he just wants to finish it.
Yeah,
Instead of
exactly.
waiting for someone to die, I'll just expedite the process.
exactly, yeah. I like by the end of the story, the creature is gone, either vanquished with the house itself or still at large, now set free from by the destruction of the house. So it's a bit open-ended as to the fate of the monster, and for that matter, what it was. Was it a murderous, mischief-mongering monster?
Yes.
Or perhaps a horrid apparition from the cemetery, like a reaper kind of creature, or something else entirely, which I'm not against at all. Like, I like the idea of that. I could see people would want to know more about it, but it totes that line of like being like giving too much information at the end and giving not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's right there in the kind of a semi-happy medium. And so, in short, it is a short read. It ends rather quickly, or kind of it does kind of end a little abruptly. I feel it could easily be fleshed out into something more bigger, and if anyone had the interest, like the author themselves. But it's a quick read. Like, it's only like 4 pages on my Google Docs when I did the page count, and it does not take that long to read it, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I've heard this sort of story before. Or at least the tropes that are within, like, it kind of rings like It, or like some things from It, or like Are You Afraid of the Dark, even kind of like storylines or plot lines. But it was an enjoyable little read, so I recommend if you like quick little buddy horrors, because this was certainly a horror story
With a buddy. Yeah, it totally is.
So yeah,
Slowly adding to that list of buddy horrors.
now that we've discovered that genre,
Yeah.
that genre needs to be filled in a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So, going back to the ending.
Yes.
Actually, before you continue, just thinking. Does I Dare My Best Friend to Ruin My Life technically a buddy horror? Because they are buddies, and his friend is trying to end him. Would that be technically a buddy horror, even though they're both just dudes? I'm
Yes.
assuming yes, because you have a frozen look on your face.
Yes.
Cool. Continue.
Alright. So, back to the end, where he reaches the cemetery. I personally would have enjoyed a bone pit, because...
Wouldn't we all? I mean...
Or a hag tree.
Yeah.
Like, just something gruesome, like a little bit like something old and gruesome.
Well, it's just the whole idea of a supernatural entity digging the grave, putting the body into the grave, and making a tombstone, and...
Again, it was a
Community service.
if you take it the way the SNTF, like community service program, rehabilitation program, it works like for like that kind of thing.
It's written in the story.
Clearly, but also like it does like if you read between the lines, like that's probably what the creature meant by like taking him down the path when he was ready, and that when he kills him, he'll end up there. Or
Him
it's
being
basically just-
ready is him dying
it's
by
just- it's
one
basically
means or
just-
another.
Yeah, it's just being killed by him, basically. Yeah,
Like he's never going to physically hold his hand
He's kinda like a
and
Rumpelstil-
walk down the path with him.
Yeah, he's kind of like I kind of feel like he's kind of like a Rumpelstiltskin-esque archetype, or like that little mischievous monster archetype, where like he's smarter than he leads on in his dialogue. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, don't worry, yeah, you'll get what's coming to you. Don't worry about it, buddy."
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, he's 5 years old, so like,
Yeah.
not that hard to.
Well, apparently it is because he didn't kill him.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's like Roadrunner and Coyote. It's like
Exactly. Yeah.
And me, bro, the 5-year-old he's a 5-year-old.
He's actually 8, I believe.
Well, is it?
Well-
no, it was five at the time of the mono.
Is he?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's only 8 when they moved to the settling down
Oh,
location.
okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, he's a 5-year-old with mono, and he loves books. I mean, that
Not all 5-year-olds are idiots.
Not all.
Don't be
kids,
insulting to all
yeah.
of our 5-year-old listeners.
Yeah, don't insult all our listeners who were 5 years old and like really liked books. Like, where do you think a lot of them got like their love of creepypastas from reading like creepy horror stories, like scary
When there were
stories,
5?
scary stories to tell at night. That childhood nightmare fuel inducing book series that got read to kids way too early with creepy as sin illustrations.
Yeah. Well, either way, these books that this kid's getting, they're just books.
Yeah.
Okay? It's not like his mom is handing him a massive tome.
I
where it's
literally
like,
okay. To add on to this, I have literally given my niece cultist my first Cthulhu book. Like it is basically, or no, sorry, the hungriest Cthulhu pillar, which is the hungriest caterpillar book, which is for that age group 3 to 5, and it has tons of pictures and stuff. And he mentions that the Mr. Widemouth is reading through books and looking at reading them and looking at the pictures.
oh, okay. So yeah,
it is
picture books.
Like picture books are a thing, and they have writing in them.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
There is the simple change there that fixes all of this.
Yeah.
Instead of saying ginger ale in books, ginger ale in picture books.
Yeah,
Done.
that would work. Yeah,
Immediately.
Yes.
It's actually a grammar Nazi.
or a nitpick, more or less.
Yeah, that's in the nook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So,
But because of that, it broke your entire
my immersion
Gone from the get-go.
Yeah.
So you won't recommend.
Yeah, I'm not recommending it.
That's fair.
Okay.
For me, conversely, I am going to recommend it because I enjoyed the way it went the entire way through. Like you say, it ended quickly, but it didn't really need to go on. I felt if it went on much more, it would have just been kind of beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I get that.
It tied up all the loose ends. And, well, the one loose end it left is what is the fate of Mr. Widemouth.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's not a bad
It's
loose
not
end to
necessary,
leave
no.
there, because it leaves it open where, like, he could come back and haunt this guy later in his life, for all we know.
This is the difference between why I recommended it fully rather than when I was going to recommend it partially. I actually originally had a partial recommendation.
Yes.
But as I read, as we have been talking and this iteration,
What are you talking about? Well, there's so many parallel universes going on at the same time.
Anyway, the reason why I went a full recommendation is because the fact it did kind of it just kind of ends after a couple of years ago I wanted to go check it out and I found this graveyard at the end of that pit, and it was a lot of children tombstones, and that's actually I enjoy that ending because it's it adds a bit of gravitas to or dark tone suddenly to why Widemouth was leading him to jump out the window or play with the knives and stuff like that. He was literally trying to kill him.
I know.
It added on to that whole aspect of where we were thinking where this is what happens to kids who are ready to go down that path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The path is just death.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked it. The ending was good. I really liked the creepy little monster. Most of the time, when a creepypasta has a tiny little monster, I'm not scared of him because I just think he's hilarious and not threatening. But I'm actually worried about this little fuzzy bastard.
Yeah, the whole time, as soon as even when he showed up, it's I don't trust him.
Nope. He's evil.
It's nope. Okay, cool. Can I have one of these knives?
I mean, you do that, and then he's still standing there. It's what? What now? He's got a cleaver hanging out of his mouth. You don't know what I am.
It's you think this is my real face? You think this is my
This
real
isn't even my final form. He grows an inch tall. What now, bitch?
He gets all blonde.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But yeah, no.
It was good. The ending, again, I wasn't expecting it, and I like that the ending, it makes you smarter. So, yeah.
Again, I think
full
the reason
recommendation.
Yeah, cool. I think the reason I expected a bunch of stuff in the story is just because there's a lot of red flags throughout the story, and I kind of knew where it was going. Probably just because I'm genre savvy or I've read enough creepypastas at this point. So yeah, okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, you are reading the creepypasta, so weird shit's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you kind of go.
Again, I would be floored if the story took a different turn and the monster itself, nothing bad about him. He's actually
he's a good guy.
He's
your buddy.
He's actually your buddy, and the villain,
Not your buddy,
the real
yeah.
villain, not to villainize dads, but the real villain is actually the dad who's a drunk and beats his wife, and wants to kill the kid, and so to escape, the kid actually jumps out the window that he kind of was nervous about doing earlier, but turned out there was a trampoline down there, and he's able to escape out down the path into the woods. And yeah, he goes through that cemetery, but there's like a nice like old family like on the other side of the cemetery that's actually nice, like really nice, and that's
or like there's an old crypt that is like actually empty, and there's like a passageway to get to
town.
Yeah, to get away.
To get away. Like basically like it's child services or whatever.
His dad's like chasing him with like a limp because he hit him at some point.
I'm thinking a shotgun too. Like,
sure, he can. Yeah, like just spawns a shotgun out of nowhere, just fabricates.
Well, no, just like when he gets like starts chasing. Yeah.
Yes.
Or he has the cleaver or the knives and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no,
completely different term,
I would be
but
completely
also
floored
interesting.
if the monster was not the little like Mr. Widemouth, but in fact something else, and he was completely innocuous the entire time. Like, leave in the red flags, but actually have them turn out to be not like bad. Mm-hmm. But yeah,
it would be interesting.
Okay, but yeah, so 2 recommendations and 1 non-recommendation.
Yeah.
So
and with the SNTF angle, I have to say that I would put this about 50% recommendation.
Oh, of course.
Okay, so
and with me, with the SNTF angle, it gets 150% of recommendation.
I'd like to see a comic book of this, like or like a comic, or like again a game scenario where it's just like the SNTF, like the like making monsters mandatory, like or like mundane, like doing mundane jobs.
Yeah, like Garbage Man and all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
It's like there's some like water-based monster. He's a plumber.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, there's your problem right there. Just let me clear it up.
Oh yeah, just turns into water and goes through it.
Yeah. All right, so that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below. Wherever this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on iTunes, so you can leave us a rating and review. Let us know how we're doing, and help us grow, and every little bit helps. You can also email us at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDNTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. Also, we're on Twitter, so you can get in touch with us there. Mikey is at the E Stands for Evil. I am at the Review Cultist. Sorry, at Review Cultist. Gamer is on Xbox Live at The Gamer in Yellow, but without the W, because Microsoft just won't give him one more W. Or won't give him one.
I mean, that's true. I just need a W.
Yeah.
But having a space to put any letter would also work.
Would be appreciated, yeah.
Yes.
Just won't give him one more letter.
Yes.
And you can check out the title cards for each episode at Al Dente Rigor Mortis on YouTube, as well as Crazon Studios on Tumblr, and crazon.deviantart.com. It's actually where one of our people on DeviantArt got in touch with us and sent us a list of stories, and this is one of them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Keep coming.
Yep. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 to $5 tier, or $2 to $5, but really any amount helps. You get behind-the-scenes content, extra episodes, special episodes, early access, so rather than listening to the episodes on Thursdays, you can listen to them on Tuesdays. And special episodes include
Al Dente Reloaded at the $5 tier, where Mikey and I go back to the good, the bad, and the ugly pastas that the cultist and the doctor did in the past, and see what our thoughts are on them. And Al Dente Revelations at the $2 tier, where Mikey and I continue those thoughts after listening to the old episodes the cultist and the doctor did, and possibly have a mind-breaking revelation while doing so. Mm-hmm. And also while destroying the art as much as physically possible.
Yeah, well, we critique stories, so it's only fair that my art gets critiqued. Yes. I mean, that
unknown artist.
Yeah.
This Krazoon guy.
Yes.
I don't know who that is.
Got a decent DeviantArt count, though.
Well, I mean, I feel like you're biased. I don't know why.
I might be very biased.
I have a feeling you're biased, but I don't know why.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, because you're not him. Anyway.
And for our support, for those of you that are supporting the show already on Patreon, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of Creepypastas who write those stories that we discuss on the show every week, thank you. For if you didn't write them, and if you weren't listening, we wouldn't have a show this long. So until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis 2.0. Sleep well.
No, it's not. It's 1.0.
But it's in some timeline, or in some parallel universe, there is a me that hit that button, and it went off smoothly, first iteration.
Yep. And that's the first time it's actually gone smoothly in that universe.
Yeah.
Every other time,
It's
you've
fucked up.
been raging because, like, I forgot to record again.
This is the 213th time!
There's no episodes up, so every episode is the first episode. Because every time we show it, it's like, oh, fuck it, we'll just do another one tomorrow.
Yeah, it's actually like, well, we've had 4 years of episodes. They've had 4 years of fuck ups.
Yes.
So they've not actually like posted anything in 4 years.
No,
since they
nothing
started
at
this
all.
idea. And like at that point, they were just about to give up. Like, if this happens again on the 240th time, my fucking god, I am done. Like, yeah. All right. This is all recorded.
Bring it back. Here we go.
This is all recorded, by the way. So
Yeah, I know, it's cool.
yeah. So for anybody listening to this, because I'll probably put this in the bloopers and the bumper at the end. This is the second iteration of our episode because we had a nice, succinct, hour-long episode, and it wasn't fucking recording.
Yeah.
I'm so angry at myself right now.
I'm angry at you, too. I'm really not.
I blame myself. So do I. Bakeman. Anyway, are we ready to go? 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 Are we ready to go?